I have lawyers in my office that have worked for me for years who have never handled any aspect of a pre-litigated case.
A lot of people in this industry are so greedy that they don't want to open up other doors. But I think if you dedicate your time to help other people, I think that's gonna come back 10, 20 times more. One of the cases that Bob had that, brought Brian Panish involved is a case that came in the door from the very beginning. That case right there was all about the foundation of that case. Client comes in first. Find a way how to talk to them, communicate with them with respect, give them that authority, let them make the decision on their own, but give them the options.
No, but Eric, the one thing that you do better than anybody else is building like culture and community. How do you do that shit?
So,
welcome to this episode of Bourbon of Proof, where we interview those who have been successful in both law and life. And excuse Morrow's cough, because he has the comes because we're drinking some very high proof alcohol on this episode because we have the very esteemed Eric Heath on this episode, who has come literally from the streets to managing medical offices to managing firms, and he's going to give you the real of the fucking real.
100%.
100%. And of course we have the Mauro Fiore Jr.
Thank you. I'm here. I'm still, what they say, coherent for this episode. I don't know about the next one.
Yes. So we do episodes in batches. This is 4 out of 5. And if Mauro does not puke on the table,
and we really drink in every episode.
Yes. So the episodes are more about the hosts getting fucked up than the guests. But can we call our whiskey sommelier up here first because we have some special pours?
I think these are new stains on this table. Is this from mine?
No.
Spilling?
Were this break stains?
These are break stains.
All right, we're going to start, you guys. We're going to go up in proof gradually.
Okay. Oh,
this is bottled and bonds. This is E.H. Taylor from Buffalo Trace, but this is their straight rye. Very grain forward.
Oof. Wow.
Well, E.H. Taylor is always a special treat, it's going to be good when they put E.H. Taylor, the Colonel himself.
So this is from the Buffalo Trace line. So Eric Heath, and I've known Eric and I, we've been together since 2000 and early. Let's put it that way.
I would say 2007, 2008.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very early.
This was before you actually started your own law firm.
That's right. So to Eric
This is when you worked with Jeremy Tissot?
No, adjacent to the Jeremy Tissot.
Well,
The
guys,
street lawyers and street justice.
Cheers.
Eric, to you.
Thanks for the invite. Appreciate it. Nice being here.
Now, Eric might be one of the few
that's
non-lawyers we've had on the show.
Yeah.
Mostly lawyers. But I have a guy who works in my office for 20 years named Jez Villalobos. Shout out to Jez. He's more competent than 90% of lawyers I've ever met.
Eric trains our lawyers.
He's the most competent PI lawyer I know, Jess, but he's not a lawyer. So, yeah, I can understand. Eric, obviously, his reputation is that he is one of the most skilled personal injury practitioners there is.
Yeah, being understanding the medical side and the laws combined together, I think that's the gift that I have that was able to, show a lot of the law clerks with our demand writing skills and so forth, how to combine the medical side to their law perspective aspect. Put that stuff together is actually what makes it real good. So,
Yeah, we met Eric the first time whenever I was a solo practitioner. Left my firm after a couple of years, and we were working a lot with orthopedic doctors, and Eric was running an office for a very busy practitioner that actually did my shoulder and hip surgery, fast forward many years. But Eric was so efficient with medical reports, being responsive to our clients and the concierge service. And I was like, I went to my twin brother, Brad, and I was like, we got to hire this guy. So I had to have a sit down with his boss, a surgeon that we all know, and say, can I please...
Well, I'll tell you a little bit more. I'll add more to that. So he calls me and said, hey, I'm about to open up my own office. Mm-hmm. Do you know anybody like yourself that wants to come and work for me, right? And I'm like, That's a kind of weird question to ask me. Oh, you need someone that works just like me? Why don't you just
You know what I was really getting at. Let's be honest.
Just
Let's be honest.
interview
He was
me.
beating around the bush.
Right. So I was like, just interview me. He was like, no, I can't do that. You know, he was playing hard again. I was like, dude, get out of here. So we actually sat down and met. And, you know, I wasn't looking for a job. I was like, you know what? I'm interested in what this guy's all about. I was pleasure. I was working with him. His clients always said great things about him. And I was like, this guy knows his stuff. He's bringing in cases, just started his office, and clients just keep coming in. I was like, this guy must be doing something good. So he and I kind of just gel at the very beginning of the stages of the cases. And there was a client that came into our office on the medical side, and she needed a knee replacement.
Oh, I know exactly. I won't say her name, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
I told that patient, hey, you know what? I can't get that surgery scheduled because you're not represented by an attorney. Once you get an attorney, then let me know, and I'll help you get that. It ended up being Bob. That's how we met. Mm-hmm. Bob comes in and says, hey, you remember that client? Well, I'm her attorney. He was like, but I need you to do me a favor. Can you get that surgery scheduled Friday? And it was a Monday call. And I was like, sure, I'll get it done for you. And he was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, let's get it done. Right?
Music to your ears.
Yeah. So Friday gets the surgery. He gets the op report on Monday. He settles that case in 2 weeks.
Yep. That's
got the policy.
Yep.
He pays the doctor a big, substantial, great amount because he did really good on the case. And then the doctor was like, who is this guy? I don't want to meet this guy. And that was the actual start of the relationship with that case.
Amazing.
And Eric teaches a lot of other lawyers that are being case managers or running pre-litigation how to like do that, which is a hard skill set because a lot of people don't understand how to navigate. You're running concierge service for injured victims, right? I mean, that's what you do.
I mean, it's so difficult, especially now these days. Like I see it in my own practice, and most people probably see it in their practice. You know, you hire these young lawyers out of law school. They come to work for you. They don't know shit about litigation, for sure. And they don't know shit about pre-litigation, even worse. You know, they don't know anything. So you got to explain to them how this shit works. And a lot of times, and lots of lawyers, I have lawyers in my office that have worked for me for years who have never handled any aspect of a pre-litigated case, right? They don't know anything about it. They only know from filing a lawsuit on, right? So they don't understand it. So it's rare that people that understand the whole big picture, that understand pre-lit, understand litigation, understand settlement, understand lien negotiation,
right?
Understand, settlement and disbursement and closing the case out. These are tremendous skills to have, and to have someone like Eric who can do from the sign up to the disbursement and hand the client the check. I mean, it's worth its weight in gold. It doesn't fall out of the sky every day.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest problem in our industry is working up your foundation of your cases, right? Look at the bad stuff that case come in. It could be a bad client, could be a bad accident, has no insurance, you got a hit and run. So all that stuff, lining it up from the very beginning and paying attention to those details is the crucial, important part of every case. One of the cases that Bob had that brought Brian Panich involved is a case that came in the door from the very beginning. Right, it was all customer service. This guy was injured, almost near a wheelchair. Met him at his house, got to know the family. He lived in a 5x5 room. He was injured.
Fell off a ladder, like doing work for a lady, and there's no workers' comp. There's nobody he could recover from.
He had no health insurance, no nothing. And he called us, came in to me, referred to a family friend, and I went in there, met them, and that case right there was all about the foundation of that case. What information were you looking for? How to get that information? And then we just worked it up as it went by. Client did not want to get surgery because he was so scared. That's one of the biggest problems that we all have in pre-litigation is no client wants to have surgery.
Especially the Hispanic community too. They don't trust.
Well, they don't trust, but they don't have anybody to help to pay the bills. There's no support system, right? And anybody that knows, Hispanic people are hardworking people, right? They depend on their paycheck every 2 weeks. And if they're the bread makers, they won't stop working. So how do you talk to this client and say, hey, I will help you. This is what needs to be done. And this is what we bring to the table. This is where I teach everyone as, our law clerks, our staff is client comes in first, right? Find a way how to talk to them, communicate with them with respect, give them that authority, let them make the decision on their own, but give them the options, right? And that's how you build up the foundations of the cases with the small things.
Yeah, and then the fast forward to that is that individual who came in through Eric from Family Friend, and we litigated this case. They had only $1 million policy, 1 million that they did not want to even think about this individual. We had almost 10 times that multiple of that policy verdict. He now owns a lot of property in Los Angeles.
The client.
The client. And he helps a lot of folks.
You really changed the guy's life.
Oh,
I remember you tried that case with Brian downtown.
Brian downtown. And that's where, like, we encourage everybody, if you're watching or listening to the show, I was a young lawyer at that time. This case came in, and I'd tried maybe 6-ish cases at that time. And I was, this case is a bigger animal. And I brought in somebody at that time in my life that understood the value and how we could drive it home. And I gave 50% of my fee to one of the best trial lawyers that we know today. And I do this with a lot of our friends. Mara and I have split cases. We've done with a lot of our friends to try that case with me. And I've learned so much from trying a case with Brian Panish and to get recovery for that individual who now is a property owner and an employer and giving people dignity. If that had never, if I had been a selfish lawyer that wanted to try that on my own, we could have gotten an okay result.
yeah,
But not that result.
right.
That everybody did better, especially the client. And that's the beauty of we've been Eric does a lot for, not only Justice HQ, mentoring a lot of the case managers and pre-litigation lawyers and attorney share, just cultivating this fee split society.
Yeah, and going back to what Bob said is he brought in one of his cases that he knew he could try, and he knew he was going to get a nice verdict. Maybe not a gigantic verdict that we end up getting with Brian Panish, but the bigger picture to that was that opened a lot of doors.
Yep.
And that's where JHU is. We're trying to open up a lot of doors, right? Help and grow, teach, educate. And what that does is that builds up a bigger community because everyone is winning. And I feel like a lot of people in this industry are so greedy that they don't want to open up other doors. Or even some attorney just say, you know what, the staff, that's a great case manager, but you know what? You got to stay in the office all day. Mm-hmm. But that person could be a great marketing to that firm if you just support, give a backbone and say, you know what, let me help you go to this conference and mingle with people, right? And I feel like the platform that Bob has helped me throughout these years, and I learned from him, and it's a guy that I admire because that case there was an eye-opening for me to say, damn, this guy could have taken the whole fees, but you know what? He just decided to bring someone else to learn, and then I learned through that process because I was in trial with him because I was helping the interpretation at one point, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. And client comes back now to this day, is calling me, appreciating, sends me people. Right.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And that's the key.
Well, you have to, to this day, I've been practicing 27 years, tried over 50 jury trials. I don't need anybody's help for anything. You know what I mean? I can handle my business. I can try my case and do everything. But still to this day, I always have to put my client's best interests in front of my own. Always. And there's occasional cases, like I get these civil rights cases. I just gave a case to Umberto Guizar that he settled for $5 million recently. Shout out to Umberto Guizar. Police shooting case. I don't know about police shooting cases. If I wanted to be a greedy pig and keep the case and try to fuck around with it and try to settle the case, because it was a bad shooting on body cam, they shot the dude in the back. It's just fucking crazy, right? But still, it's not my lane, man. It's not what I know. And at the end of the day, what's going to be best for the client? And I had to give Umberto 50% of the fee. Okay, no problem. Yeah. But he went out and got full value on this case, $5 million, a value that I would never get close to because they never pay me because they know I don't know shit what the fuck I'm doing. But you have to understand that at the end of the day, these are your client's only shot at these cases. And if it was something that's in my wheelhouse, premises liability case, a good auto case, dog bite, something like that, sure, I keep the case all day. But you have to put your client's interest in front of your own.
And it grows many multiples. By the way, where's our whiskey sommelier? Travis Davis, can you please give us another pour? Eric, you got to keep up with this, my friend. Yeah. You gotta grease the skids over here.
Talk to me nicely, please.
Sir.
All right,
I know
moving up in
you're like
proof
El
here.
Salvadoran, right?
Yeah, my mother's Salvadorian, my father's African American.
So the El Salvadorans drink whiskey?
Whiskey?
Or
No.
no, they don't, right? No,
they're Pilseners. they drink beer.
they drink that Imperial or
Yeah,
whatever is that
Imperial.
shit? Imperial?
Eric's always been a beer drinker. Since
Yeah, I know
we've
that.
converted.
I've
him.
been to South America. I've been to Central America. They drink that Imperial. It's like a Budweiser kind of like that.
All right, well, this is not like Budweiser. This is 110 proof.
Again,
Russell's
this guy.
Reserve.
By the way,
Wild
our
turkey.
whiskey sommelier, every single pour is over 50% alcohol.
Our
Every single
whiskey
time.
sommelier is
That's where the flavor is.
he's a sabotage. He's
Yeah.
sabotaging.
Travis came
Sabotaging.
here
This
making
is a
sure.
private pick too from Trevor's local
Russell's.
store. Russell's Reserve. It's wild turkey. But it's their good stuff. Private selection.
So this is Trevor's is nearby here in Phoenix, where our office is in Phoenix, where both Eric and Trevor or Travis are partners. But Trevor's this is their store pick. Oh, come here. Thank you, sir. And the one thing I like about this one, which I've never had this specific, private barrel selection. So this is one that they hand selected at 55%. But Eric, one of the reasons I selected this for you is you're known for being the best human communicator. When people come to the office, you will talk to them on the phone for hours and understand their loss, how it's real for them, and equate it to your own personal life. And I know you, and I wear my Pittsburgh dad shirt for you because you're a great dad.
Oh, appreciate that. Yeah.
To both Matthew and Allison, you're a great dad. And I know you sacrifice so much to give them education and where they are. And I want to bring this back to Russell's for your Jack Russell Terrier.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. His dog.
A lot of
Our
energy.
first- our
Those
first-
Jack
A lot of
Russells-
energy. His first dog.
Just Jack Russell's got a lot of energy, man. You gotta have you gotta really be able to roll with it.
So Eric, to you, the family man, we appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I've sacrificed a lot for my kids. You know, people that know me, I came in the rough streets, right, South Central LA. Proud where I came from, but that's who made me, right? Didn't have my parents with me every day because they were always working, so I was home alone all the time. So streets is where I knew and I learned all my stuff, right? Everyone's like, man, how do you become a hustler? I was like, well, that's the natural stuff. And I learned that on the back end when I was a kid, right? Getting candy and, going to school and getting all those, lollipops and then selling them for 10 cents in school, right? That's where it all started, right? Because at the end of the day, my parents were always working. I wanted a candy, but I didn't have money to buy candy. So I knew how to do best. It's just sell and get some money, and that's how I did my stuff, right? But the hustling skills came definitely from the streets, learning all that stuff. And now that I have my kids, I'm able to teach them certain things, right? And get them into school. So my son now is at third year in Arizona State University. That's what got me to Arizona, right? My daughter's now 10-year-old. Now she's becoming a little athlete now. She's playing softball, and I'm encouraging that for her, right? And I try to be the best communicator with him.
But your son Matthew, he was a very gifted athlete. I mean, probably not because of you, probably your wife.
Well, I mean,
your ex-wife's.
This
Because of
is not,
Stacy.
it's not forget that I am half black.
Yeah, okay, so
He's got the genes. He's got the
Athleticism,
genes.
already
no, but
in
his
my
son
bloodstream.
was he was the Junior Olympics. He was running the fucking he was the running back they ended up being cornerback for
In high school,
high
yeah,
school.
he's
But he was the
definitely
fucking
corner.
running back. He was playing track, blowing guys out of the water.
So yeah, my son became a junior Olympic gold medalist at 9.
Nine.
And this is we went to Baltimore, and that's where he got it from. But he's always been an athletic. But what defines my son is that he understood structure. He understood hard work, and that's the stuff that I engraved in him when he was small. Right? No athlete is gonna do this, but this is where you're gonna separate yourself from any other athlete. Is hard work, structure, your diet, and I had all that stuff lined up for him.
Where did you learn this stuff, Eric? Because this wasn't part of your upbringing.
I learned, reading books or, reading a lot of stuff, how to become a strong athlete, follow, a lot of the Michael Jordans or quotes and all that stuff. And when I was a kid, I always idolized those kind of people. And I was like, damn, I wish I had that, but I had no guidance.
But what's your, I mean, you didn't have mentorship because when you're at South Central, nobody went to college. Nobody's a college graduate. Where did you come up with this? Because that wasn't your pedigree either.
I think my upbringing and surviving mode that I did a lot of stuff on my own independently is what actually taught me myself. All the stuff that I wanted, that I wish I had, instead of me wishing, I just passed it on to him. If I had a father that gave me guidance, I will give you that father, give you that guidance. I'm gonna guide you. So my goal to him was everything that I didn't get, I gave it to my kids.
And you also, I mean, when Matthew, your oldest son, was in high school, even before that, you founded an organization to help kids in the neighborhood and the area to be able to like get into sports, excel, and do things.
Yes. So what got me to that point when I was making enough, we were doing so good at the firm, and I was allowed to, get out of work early and join my son's sports events. I ended up running a nonprofit organization, LA Valley Seahawks, for about 8-9 years. I joined that because I was one of those kids that rode the bus going to practice. And I had a lot of kids from the inner cities that didn't have their parents to come pick them up or take them to practice. So I took it upon myself to say, hey, I'll go pick you up. You're part of my team. We're a family. I picked up all the kids. I bought their jerseys. I bought all that stuff, everything for them. Right? Because I was able to do it. So my thing was, I want to give back to the community to be able to say, hey, I came from that, but now that I have this, I want to be able to show my son and say, look, this is what I did while you were playing, because that's what got me out there on the field. So I gave back. Everything that I didn't have, I gave it back.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I feel almost guilty, kind of like, that my kids have such advantages that other kids don't have, Like I grew up, my dad was a very hard worker. We weren't poor, but we weren't rich. My dad was a blue collar fucking grinder, and my dad always just instilled hard work, in us, and that nothing's going to come to you for free. No one's going to give you anything. My dad was a immigrant from Italy. He came here when he was 27 years old. Didn't even speak English. He worked at the fucking Farmer John meat packing facility in Vernon. When he came here, he was fresh off the boat from Italy and stuff. So my dad fucking worked hard in his life, and I saw how hard he worked, and he always instilled that in me and my brothers and my sisters to work hard, and hopefully I can convey that to my kids, but it's hard because they're lucky, they're so fortunate now. My kids, they get to enjoy, my dad put me in a place where I could be better, and now I have surpassed probably what my dad thought I could.
But generational change has to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm a big change from my generation, from where my parents came from, right? They came from literally they're the immigrants coming in, working all day. My mom used to work 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
I saw her for like 30 minutes, and then she'll go ride the bus back to work. Right? So I didn't have that mom's and son, bonding time, but I appreciate like the 30 minutes that I had. I was like, oh yes, I got that. And then, okay, mom, I'll see you later. She had to go back to work. Now we're in a different situation. I now give my attention to my kids.
Yeah, you're with your kids all the time. Yeah.
Every time I get
Me
I
too.
have it.
And that's what, if you were running a firm, you should give your employees the opportunity to be there with your kids at critical times. Like when they're in school, you can grind.
Yeah,
that's when you're working.
Absolutely.
And then when they're going to school or out of school, that's when you should be there. And if you can structure your life, and that's why I'm a big proponent of why are we wasting people's time traveling to and from an office to lose that product. Imagine you have to drop your kids off at school at maybe 8 o'clock, 7:30. It takes you an hour to get to the office. Then you have to grind. Then you miss all these after school activities. Eliminate the freaking travel. Why does this even exist? So you should be able to give what he never had as a kid. And like what a lot of us never had. We never had that because our parents are losing an hour and a half in travel time when they didn't even have to.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, I had my mom around because my mom didn't work, but she had 5 kids. So it was easier for my mom to deal with the kids. My dad for sure never went to any of my practices, rarely came to any of my games, whatever. It wasn't because he didn't want to, but my dad worked, 6-7 days a week. My mom, but I did have my mom there, which was nice to have your mom there, as a foundation and things.
Whiskey sommelier, can we get another pour up here, by the way? So Eric's palate's a little dry. Powder's dry.
Jesus.
So do you ever
Jesus,
go back?
he doesn't drink a lot. I mean,
Do you go back to El Salvador ever? You have family over
You know
there? or
what?
anything?
The crazy part is I've never been to El
You ever been
Salvador.
there? I've been there. It's know.
why have you been to El Salvador?
Um,
let's do this drink first, then we'll tell the
I've been
story.
to. I've been there with
why?
a buddy of mine who owns a ski. He owns a surf resort. There's a lot of surfing in El
There's a lot of
Salvador.
Americans.
What?
A lot of
out in El
surfing.
Salvador. There's a
Yeah,
lot of
I'll tell you the
yeah.
story. Let Drink. I'll tell you about my buddy who's
All
a.
right, here we go.
And then when he was in
This is,
Honduras too, out here, this one.
Sag Junior. This is aged about 9 years or so.
Jesus.
128 proof.
128 this
worked our
guy.
way up. This is from Buffalo Trace. There we
Nice.
go. That's
Yeah.
it. That's the
So
story.
Eric wanted to taste a little bit of high proof spirits for today. This one's one of the higher ones.
Excuse me.
So I hear that if you drink this type of whiskey, you know, your hairs and your chest start coming out.
On your
more
balls,
thick
too.
around the- Oh, really?
No, according to Morrow, his hairs never came out of his chest.
Yeah, so I had a client, El Salvadoran guy. Give me these. Let's take these off the table. We'll leave this one on the table. I had a client, an El Salvadoran guy. This was 10, 12 years ago. Settled his case for a lot of money. You know, for $15 million, I settled the guy's case. Right? He went back to El Salvador. He went to Costa del Sol, it's called, which is like
Probably about a big mansion.
like the Riviera, which in El Salvador has all these Americans down there that they found this surf break down there that's like better than anything. And they got fucking Americans down there on the beach living in Costa del Sol in El Salvador, surfing year round because the weather's fucking great year round. And they love it down there. And so El Salvador became like a surf mecca.
Yeah.
And this dude went down there, the guy who settled like his case for $15 million. He opened a couple of hotels down there. He has like Airbnbs and everything. So I went down there to visit him. And, we became friends. I love the guy. I call him El Leon. He's a big dude. He's like fucking Jack, the guy that says El Leon. And I went down to visit him, and he's fucking living great down there, man. And it's all either Americans or Canadians that are down there surfing year round. And he's buying land down there. The guy's, he's done pretty good. I remember when I settled his case, tried to get him to do a structured settlement and all this shit. And even Manny Valdez couldn't talk him into it. And Manny's good with the Latino clients. Manny Valdez is a structured settlement guy. He told Manny, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to go to El Salvador and invest my money. Manny's like, you're fucking nuts.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to El Salvador with $8 million. I handed
Oh
that
my
son of a
God.
bitch a check for like $8 million.
I forgot. I just took a drink of this. Did you guys drink this one yet?
He
No,
didn't.
not
He
yet.
didn't
Is
blow
it-
the money off. He went to El Salvador and has done real well. And he's down there. He's the
holy shit.
surf king. So if you ever want to go to El Salvador and go surfing, let me know. I'll hook you up with that Leon.
We
Take a drink of this and see if you're going to go
This
hair
like,
chest surfing.
for
It's
sure.
outrageous.
What the
Dude,
fuck
this is like
This
gasoline.
like
Every time I drink
rubbing
Stag.
alcohol.
God
Travis,
damn
what's
it.
going on?
Yeah, you know what? I mean,
It's 128 proof,
it's
dude.
pretty rare. I mean, normally, I can find something good in most, but I've never had a Stag I liked.
Every time. Stag is always
I've
too
never
much for
been,
me.
I've never been a Stag. I mean, a lot of people love it. It's not for me, really.
El Salvador has become much more cleaner now. The new president took all those gang members out, and it's
He's just he's putting them in jail and throwing away the key.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
they don't fuck
exactly
around
what
over
he's
there.
doing. So El Salvador is going to be a nice place to go to vacation at one point.
There we go.
I know for sure that lots of PI lawyers I know from LA, I know 2 or 3.
That stole their clients' funds and left to
Yeah.
salvage
Oh,
and
nonsense. They have
A couple. You know a couple that that's
Okay, I know one. No, he went to Costa Rica.
Where did you will?
No, he went to Isle de Mujeres. He was in fucking
Oh,
Mexico.
that was like, that was in
Now he knows two.
Isla Mujeres, outside of Cancun.
That's Mexico.
I
Yeah.
had a client. I had an attorney friend of mine that settled a bunch of cases and stole the money, and went to Isla Mujeres.
I mean, I feel like in this industry there could be a lot of greed. There's a lot of money
God.
floating around. You got these vendors coming in at you, going in all in and say, "Hey, I got this, but I got this Dodgers and Lakers suite. You want to come in, but you got to send me some business." It's
That's
like,
always the
I always teach my kid. I say, "Hey, fast money never lasts,
yeah.
right? Earn your money."
Yeah.
Right. There's a couple of sayings I have for my kids, and this is all the stuff that I learned in the streets. Right. Closed mouths don't get fed. Right.
Ooh.
You got to be able to talk and speak. Right.
No, but Eric, the one thing that you do better than anybody else is building like culture and community. You did it in Southern California. You do it in Arizona. Like you go out to like grassroots places and teach people how to like what we're doing, how we're helping people? Like, how do you do that shit?
So, when I meet certain people and people, especially here in Arizona, I think Arizona people is like, oh, you're from California? What are you doing in Arizona? Right? Arizona people are very territorial. That's what I'm starting to understand here. But I go in and I say, hey, look, I'm not here to try to take anyone's business. I'm just here to try to find a way, how can we collaborate? What can I do to help you? Right? And let's work together. Right? I got these marketing people, all these marketing people. I say, look, I think you and I, if we venture together and collaborate, this could be much more bigger than just sticking to this certain thing. Let's open up the ideas to certain things. And
where do you get your ideas from? Like day to day, where did the ideas pop into your head?
I always been a visionary person since I was a kid, maybe because of where I came from and certain things I didn't like how I was being raised. And I used to, admire my friends' family. I was like, they're eating at a dinner table. I was like, why can't I have that? Right? And I grew up thinking like that. At one point, as I was working, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do whatever I feel I need to do, right? I'm going to just see it. I'm going to test it. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, then I'll try something else, right? So I have no fear on trying new certain things. I have no fear of meeting new people. I think that allows me to kind of venture out to a lot of ideas. And then sometimes other people will bring some great ideas, but they're just so fearful to speak. And I'm like, well, let me help you. This is where I come in and said, let me help you say that, because I think that's a great idea. Let me help you. Let me introduce you to certain people that's going to help you with that idea, make it more bigger than what it is.
But how much your day to day? Because I feel like you are in the trenches so much with helping new people, like community people. Like, how much of your day is just like mentoring folks that are just asking you a question?
My phone rings all day.
It has to be crazy.
My text messages comes in like a ton of text messages all day. One of my mentors when I was in the medical field, he was a spine surgeon. They didn't do any more surgeries anymore. But he mentored me throughout the follow-ups, throughout the experts of him doing IMEs and all that stuff. And one of the things that I always remember from this surgeon was that he always said, Eric, follow through. And he repeated it so much that shit was engraved in my brain. When someone texts me and I wasn't able to respond back, I followed through with it. I sent him if it was a quick yes or no, I answer yes or no. If someone calls me, I always will call them back if I miss it. I think that right there will go a long way, just because a lot of people will say, I know you're extremely busy, but I just need 2 minutes of your time. Yeah, what's up? I can help you very quickly. What's going on? And I help.
Yeah. Well, that's either you have that or you don't. You can't teach that. You can't learn it.
You can't. I mean, people could say, you know what? We're all extremely busy. We all are. But I think if you dedicate your time to help other people, I think that's going to come back 10, 20 times more.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be perfect. That's what I always say to people. What I do might not always be perfect, but I start something, I finish it. I'm a finisher.
Mm-hmm.
I get it to the end. Sometimes it could be better, could be the A paper, but at least I get to the end with the B paper, but you get it to the end and you finish. So many people get bogged down in not finishing stuff because they want everything to be perfect. Everything to be perfect. And at the end of the day, they didn't finish shit. And they're in the same place they were 5 years before because they're afraid to venture out there and do it.
And that's the key word there. It's a lot of people are afraid.
Yeah.
And
don't have the fear.
Yeah, you don't have to fear certain things. You got a lot of support.
I would say, what's the worst that could happen? Like we go back to we could do insurance defense tomorrow, make a few $100,000, just being idiots, chasing our tail. Okay, now Eric, we're ending the episode. So our whiskey sommelier, your partner Travis Davis, picked some very high proof things for you, and I know you just got into doing a lot of more whiskey. You're golfing a lot these days, and
I heard you're a good player.
I've become a perfectionist in slicing the ball.
We share the same commonality in slicing the ball.
You don't aim 70 yards left like Bob, do you?
No.
What's the matter with you?
I could probably do 80 to 90 to the left, so I go farther.
Yeah, Bob has his back to the target, and somehow the ball ends up in the fairway. If you never played golf with Bob, you got to see it.
I'm 100% fairway regulations.
I utilize playing golf to just get out and just kind of rest the mind from work at sometimes or home. You just need to break out.
So before we go, the other day, one of our partners was like, Eric's on vacation. I need to answer these questions. And I responded,
dude.
I was like, Eric's never on vacation. Like, he's going to respond to you in like 10 minutes. Then he does.
So my phone died at the
Yeah,
golf
and
course.
somebody thought he was on vacation.
And he was like, dude.
One of our partners like, we're never not on vacation.
never
we're
fucking-
never not working.
I'm never not working.
So my
man. I
phone
fucking
died
work.
and I didn't respond for an hour.
Yeah.
So he was like, dude, he's not responding. I was like, dude, I always respond. So if you know I'm not responding, something's holding me back.
So
But
1 hour and people freaked out, thought he was like on vacation, like he was fucking in the Maldives or something. So Eric, end of the episode here. What is your bourbon of proof? If you had to pick any of these as the spirit that spoke to you or the one that you'd like to taste the most, which is yours?
I love what this one was, your kind words, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, my grid work and so forth, but the taste was, I have to go with the first one.
Yes.
This is definitely.
Yeah, E.H. Taylor straight
Well, I
rye.
think
Yeah.
you're definitely on the right track there. That was the best one.
So Eric, end of the episode, you get to have the table here, and we're going to pour you your Bottle and Bond rye from E.H. Taylor from the Buffalo Trace. And by the way, this is a fantastic bottle if you ever have to do it. Instill the wisdom on any other person in the legal industry if they want to come up and help, how are they going to do it?
I think the best way to do it is to reach out to your colleagues. Don't be afraid to ask for some help. People think that a stupid question is a question that should not be asked. And this is my response to them. There is never a such thing as a stupid question. It's a question that you don't know. So lean on the people that you work with to help you find that answer to that question. And I'm a big believer of, again, I go back to my kid that say, closed mouths don't get fed, right? So that meaning saying, if you have a question, ask that question, as you don't know the answer to that question. So it's okay. Lean on the people that are around you. And I think what we're doing with JHQ and us doing all this stuff and expanding is we are a backbone to everyone. And, Mauro, you're great at premises liability cases, right? Reach out to him.
Yeah.
I think everyone knows that. Everyone reaches out to us. I do
Yeah.
pre-lit stuff. I mean, I don't do litigation, but I do pre-lit stuff. Ask me anything about pre-lit, I'll give you the answers. You need anything litigation trial, Bob is there. And I think that's the key factor that I will say to everyone is reach out to your colleagues. Don't be afraid. And stupid question is never a stupid question.
Yeah, I had a guy who's a Bourbon of Proof fan contacted me about a premise case. He's like in Indiana or someplace, and I helped him with this case. I walked him through some stuff. I helped him like 3-4 times over like a 6-month period. And then he sent me an email that he beat the summary judgment motion, and then he got the case settled, and he was so happy, and he was very thankful. But yeah, he reached out to me.
Yeah.
The only reason I helped the guy.
I mean,
Reach out.
that's what we do. I think at this point now is we have a platform where we're able to help a lot of people, and that's always a great thing. And I think that people that do have that platform, help out, lend a hand out.
Yep.
Get these people successful as we know we all they can be.
So
We know where we
Eric-
started.
Yeah, we all started from the bottom. Now
Yep.
we're here. I don't want to promote Drake because I'm more of a Kendrick Lamar guy.
Oh,
but
he's in the Super Bowl, right?
I know. I'm here for it. We didn't do the cheers yet, you assholes. You guys are slamming drinks.
Oh, okay, sorry.
All right, Eric, you get to do the end of the episode. Cheers. What did you cheers to?
Cheers. I cheers to everyone's success.
Mm-hmm.